Doing? You're going to have the most fun 15 minutes, okay? So I want you to do something for me. My name's Alona again. I want you to close your eyes for a second, okay? I'll let you know when to open them. I want you to imagine that it is 2030. You are here for the I Have conference. You were just woken up by Lizzo, the name of your ambient AI software in your hotel room, that you programmed it to sound and respond to Lizzo. And she tells you to get a move on because you have to hang out with your kids, and then you have a virtual meeting with your team, and then you got to head over to the conference. So you get dressed, you are meeting your kids in a virtual elephant reserve in the Metaverse. Your daughter is obsessed with elephants. You guys have some good snuggle time in virtual reality. Then you meet your team, but you have a few minutes before your team meeting. So you go to Hypebeast or Bonobos or Zara, and you buy some virtual clothing for your virtual avatar. You meet your team, you get to rock your new clothes, you head over to the conference where I'm keynoting about branding in space, but I couldn't be there, so I programmed my avatar. Okay, you can open your eyes now. The scenario that I described to you sounds a little bit crazy, and when I started researching and doing, I found upon an article of NFTs in the Metaverse, I thought it was insane also. It all started in May of 2020. I had a client who wanted a virtual pop-up. And like Emily said, thank you, I have a company called FarFromTimid, and we do Web 2.3 experiences. At the time, we didn't do anything with Web 3 at all. So I started doing research, and I came upon an NFT article, and I was like, what is this? What is this? The Metaverse, DAOs, blockchain, but I started reading a little bit more, and I've been omnichannel my entire career. The idea that we could create these immersive experiences, seamless and frictionless, I really just felt so inspired. It was like I fell in love. And we incorporate that into our capabilities, and one of our first clients was an NFT collection for a wildlife platform. Today, I'm going to share with you what is the Metaverse, why it matters, how you can connect Web 2 and 3. And I'm really hoping that you can get just as excited as I am and can be just as inspired as I am, not just as a brand operator, but also as a human being. So let's get into it. So what is the Metaverse? The Metaverse is a 3D layer. That's me in Steakums University. It's a 3D layer on top of Web 2 where you can perform real-life activities like walking or shopping, gaming, as an avatar, and it's all on the blockchain. Now, if you guys have been wondering, hearing the term blockchain, I'm hoping by the end of this quick talk that maybe I'll be able to crack that code for you. You've heard the term Metaverse, and you've also heard the term Web 3. Let me clarify the nuance. The Metaverse is made up of 7 layers of processes and protocols that make up Web 2 and emerging Web 3. That's anywhere from the hardware to marketing. Web 3 was a term that was coined by Gavin Wood, who is the co-founder of Ethereum. And his vision was a decentralized ecosystem built on blockchain. Today, I'm not a cryptocurrency expert. I'm not a blockchain expert. I'm going to be talking to you today about things that connect to brand experience. Now, the best way for you to really understand Web 3 is to understand what the difference is between Web 2. Now, Web 2, I'm a user, right? I can create, I can share, I can earn, and I do it on all of these hosted platforms, okay? And it's wonderful, right? There's Shopify, there's YouTube, that's great. All of this is at the expense of my identity, though, okay? So my identity, my data footprint is public. Everything I do is public, or it's owned by these hosted platforms. They take my data, and they sell it to you, advertisers. Now, they've created these advertising products also that you buy, that you really had no say in, right? So it's my data, my data, their rules, and your money and their rules. Now, in Web3, I'm an avatar, and I travel virtually through these communities in a tokenized economy. Okay, let me explain that. I'm walking around in these communities. There's no intermediaries, okay? It's peer-to-peer. And everything I do is going to be tokenized. So if you build a community, I'm going to have access through a token. Maybe you'll give it to me, or maybe I'll buy it. Now, the cool thing is that it's all on the blockchain. So in Web 2, everything is on this central database. So if I want to send this Megan Thee Stallion video to Keanu Reeves, whether I upload it to Google Drive or I share it via YouTube, my data footprint is being recorded by these hosted platforms. They're culling my data. In Web 3, if I want to share a video with Keanu Reeves, who I don't know, I just peer-to-peer. I'm sharing my video with him. My data, whatever I do, any transaction that I do in Web 3 is stored in my wallet. Whatever Keanu does, it's in his wallet. And most importantly is that this data is recorded in multiple places on blockchain. That's what blockchain is. Blockchain are made up of multiple blocks, and there's data stored inside of it. So it's very difficult to hack. So my data is safeguarded very well in Web 3. And that's just a general explanation. So let's keep going. Now, this is really important for brands because for the first time, you can connect one-to-one directly to your customers. This is important because, number one, we are living in a post-cookie world. And number two, you have real-time access to data about your customers. So let me give you an example. I love chocolate. I had chocolate for breakfast this morning. Dark chocolate. I'm only dark chocolate. So let's say you're a chocolate company. You created this really cool 3D immersive experience like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, okay? And I bought into it. I'm like, yeah, give me some chocolate. Give me some chocolate experiences. And my wallet is really active, okay? So I bought into your community. I'm in your community. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, I'm allergic to chocolate. I mean, you know something's going on because you are tracking my wallet. You can track wallet activity. So there's no more intermediaries. So that's really the beauty of Web3 for brands, is this direct connection to your customers. It's like really mirrors what the real world is really like. You don't bundle it into these data that you create archetypes and all this stuff. The data's right there. Oops, I went backwards. Okay, some really crazy stats that I just was like amazed. First of all, the Metaverse market in 2021 was $210 billion, okay? Now, my mom called me last week. She was like, Alona, did you hear the news about Meta? She doesn't know anything about the Metaverse, but she knows that I'm involved in the Metaverse, and I was speaking today, and I was like, yeah. She's like, is everything okay? I'm like, don't worry, Mom, because Meta is not the Metaverse. Meta invested $15 billion. That's only 5% of the overall market and spend of 2021. $100 billion in 2021 was spent on virtual goods. 14% of media planners are incorporating NFTs into their media plan. 57% of you are embracing the metaverse. 8 out of 10 millennials and Gen Z, they game. They understand the pay to play and they're waiting for you. I'm going to share a few scenarios of what's possible. Different tiered investments like low effort and more high effort. Now, if you're a brand and you want to create a virtual experience, most brands today are partnering with browser-based communities in Web3 like Decentraland, Roblox, and the Sandbox. Or they're partnering with game companies like Fortnite. Now, more and more, and I'll share, more companies are actually creating their own Web3 communities, but it's a lot of investment and a lot of time, so they're dipping their toes in this way. Nike created Nike Land, which is a mere, it's like their headquarters. There you can play, you can create games, you can earn NFTs and competitions, and then use that to buy clothing. Now, Wendy's partnered with Fortnite for their international food fight tournament, and Wendy's came alive as an avatar and shot all the freezers because they're really well known for their fresh burgers. So really just low touch, but really big impact. All these platforms that I just described, together there are 300 million daily active users, and they are engaged. If they are coming to your community, it's because they want to be there. Oh, oops, hold on. Great. Another thing that you can do is start out with an NFT collection. Make sure that's with utility. For those of you who might not be familiar with NFTs or you've heard it and still not really clear, an NFT is a digital certificate of authentication or ownership. Now, NFTs have utility. You can program utility into them, whether that's rewards or exclusivity or membership. They come with utility that you can program in a smart contract. So Tiffany's partners with CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks is a Web3 community. Tiffany's created this beautiful diamond necklace, and it was made available only to the CryptoPunks token holders. And if they purchased the NFT, it was redeemed for the real thing. That's called a digital twin. Crapopolis is the name of a TV show that Fox has created. It's not launched yet. If you join their community, you can have an effect on the character development and also the plot, okay? So it's very different ways that you can create these NFT collections in your communities. FarFromTimid is building their own community. We have an NFT collection that's redeemable for clothing also. And we're involved with higher education. We're disrupting the diploma market. We're creating these really cool and interesting NFT diplomas. This matters because 86% of Americans ages 24 to 42, they say that digital items are part of who they are. Now, this is really brands that are getting very invested in Web3. It's a hybrid business model. It's creating a Web3 community alongside your traditional business model. So Starbucks created Odyssey. They did a beautiful, elegant job. They bridged Web 2 and 3. If you are a Starbucks Rewards member now, you can enter Odyssey just by entering your username and password, and you have access to the journey. You can play games. They have these coffee journeys that you can earn, these journey stamps that you can trade, or you have these journeys where you can learn about coffee. Swoosh is Nike's Web3 community. Now, right now, all you can do is buy things or earn in competitions, but the promise is that you will eventually be able to co-create with them. Listen, we have all have an opportunity right now to connect with an entirely new generation of Gen Zs and revitalize brand perception. I'm sure there's certain things that we want to really communicate that's hard to do in Web 2. Brands like Gucci launched Gucci Garden, celebrating their future and their past, and they connected with an entirely new generation. Because paying for access to consumers is being upended. Very quickly, let's talk about Metaverse strategy. I want you to think about these things when you are developing your Metaverse strategy. Number one is identity. People's virtual identity are just as important as their real identity. Number two, not a mirror. What can you do in Web 3 that you can't do in Web 2? You don't want to create something in Web 3 that's obviously you can do in Web 2. And I have a few examples, you can ask me later, of some brands that are just doing stuff that they can already do in Web 2. And I'm like, why are they doing that? Sustainability. This is my PSA announcement for today. Wherever you can be sustainable, do it. There are Web3 platforms like Polygon that you can build your community on that are sustainable. I'm not affiliated with them at all, by the way. There's also, you can have partners, sustainable partners like conservation, nonprofits. Destroy sacred marketing rules. No more intercepting. And finally, it's the creator economy. There are 200 million creators worldwide who are making a living off of their own content. This is a subculture and demographic that you need to pay attention to. How to create a Metaverse strategy. Our organizing principles at FarFromTimid are confidence, community, conversion, and connection. Confidence. Confidence is about brand trust. How do you want to be perceived? Revisit your core values and identify some IP that you think will be marketable and recognizable to this audience, okay? And I have a picture of Buzz Lightyear up here because I want you to think about the Disney model. Disney creates these, their intellectual property, and they really invest in it. They create movies, they create songs, they create dolls. That is the mentality in Web 3. Whatever you create, you are in it for the long term. So think deep, not wide. Connection. Connection is all about how you're going to come live. What's your North Star? What kind of universe are you going to build, and what are they going to do there? Define your short-term and long-term goals. Define what's the activity, what are the rewards, what are the benefits. Then you're going to document and publish a roadmap. Publish it as early as you can because you can actually incentivize your community to join the community and say, well, you'll have say in how this community comes to life. You can publish it early. And finally, there's community. There are tools like Discord, Telegram, TikTok. To build community in Web 3, it's all about partnerships. You're going to need to, the partnerships are the way to go. It will 10x the speed of building your community. And finally, if you're building a Web 3 experience, you will need to publish onboarding education. Right now, when you're creating a marketing campaign, you don't publish materials that coach people how to get through and how to understand it and what it's about. In Web 3, you actually do this because there are people who don't know what an NFT is or don't know what the Metaverse is. So you publish your onboarding education along with your actual community. And finally, conversion. There are a few good metrics. There's the vibrancy metric, which is the health of your community. Active members versus the entire community. And you want to keep the ratio high. And then there's a POAP, a proof of attendance protocol. This is all about having proof that they attended, like your wristbands. I don't know if you went to a concert and you kept them. I always keep mine. People want that. In Metaverse Fashion Week, that was the longest kiosk. People were waiting for their proof of attendance protocol. And finally, there is wallet activity. I called this designing the Metaverse for legendary brands for a reason. I think we all aspire to be legendary. And in order to be legendary, we have to lead culture by creating culture. I have a note on my desk that I keep of what I don't want to be. And it's a quote by the 18th century ineffective revolutionary named Roulin. He watches a crowd of his people go by and says, "Look, there go my people. I must find out where they are going so I can lead them." Let us be leaders. Let us be legendary. Let's all of us be far from timid. Thank you, and I'm so happy to talk to you guys after if you have any questions.